Welcome in, everybody. Today we're taking a deep dive into the music of David Gilmour.
The legendary guitarist and singer of Pink Floyd.
Exactly. So we'll be exploring his early days and the evolution of Pink Floyd's sound,
His solo work.
his collaborations.
I think it's going to be a fascinating journey uncovering the stories behind his music.
Really is. And you know what's so interesting to me is how his career kind of mirrors the broader shifts in rock music in general.
Absolutely. We see the psychedelic movement, the rise of progressive rock
And how individual talent
can flourish.
within the sometimes turbulent dynamics of a band.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it.
So let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
David Gilmour was born in Cambridge, England in 1946.
Not really known as like a musical hotbed or anything.
Not exactly a bohemian upbringing, you know.
Right. But he found his way to music pretty early.
Yeah, he did.
At 13, picked up his first guitar and a Pete Seeger record.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so relatable, you know, for anyone who started their musical journey with just some simple tools.
A little inspiration.
Yeah, some inspiration.
Yeah, and it wasn't long before his path crossed with
Some other aspiring musicians,
some future bandmates.
future Pink Floyd bandmates,
Syd Barrett and Roger Waters.
when they were all still in school.
Still in school, can you imagine?
Oh, it's amazing.
Those early jam sessions.
I know.
What they must have sounded like.
But, you know, their initial foray into the music world was anything but glamorous.
No, it wasn't.
They tried to make a go of it, busking through Spain and France,
Busking.
but it was such a struggle.
That Gilmour ended up
Hospitalized.
for malnutrition.
Now that's dedication to your craft.
It really is.
Yeah.
You know, it speaks to his commitment even in the face of adversity.
Absolutely. So Pink Floyd formed in 1965 with Barrett at the helm.
They quickly became a leading psychedelic band in London.
Yeah, they were really at the forefront of that movement.
Yeah, they were.
But unfortunately, Syd Barrett's mental health began to decline,
And it was exacerbated by his LSD use.
which was sadly very common during that era.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And so this is where Gilmour's path intersects with Pink Floyd in a significant way.
Yes, it is.
Gilmour was brought in
Initially to support Barrett on guitar.
just during live performances.
It was supposed to be a temporary thing.
Right.
But as Barrett's condition worsened,
Gilmour eventually replaced him as lead guitarist.
and it was a pivotal moment for the band.
Yeah, it marked a turning point in their sound.
For sure.
And you can hear that transition in their 1968 album.
A Saucer Full of Secrets.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though, because Barrett still contributed one song
Oh, really?
to that album.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Sort of a bittersweet moment, you know,
It is.
knowing the circumstances.
Yeah, a little bit of melancholy there for sure.
And this period also marked a shift in Pink Floyd's musical direction
Away from their psychedelic roots.
towards a more expansive.
Progressive rock sound.
And of course, we can't talk about Gilmour's influences without talking about,
Jimi Hendrix.
yeah, who is absolutely revolutionizing rock guitar at the time.
And Gilmour was a huge admirer.
And you can hear elements of Hendrix's style.
In Gilmour's own playing.
Yeah, it really contributed to Pink Floyd's sonic evolution
Yeah, and that evolution led to one of the most iconic albums.
of all time.
The Dark Side of the Moon in 1973.
And it's insane this album spent nearly 2 decades.
On the Billboard charts.
2 decades? Can you believe that?
That is incredible.
Why do you think this album has resonated so deeply with audiences?
Well, I think it's a masterpiece.
Sure.
It really is.
It is.
It blends brilliant music.
And really profound themes.
Themes of insanity, wealth.
War.
Yeah, these are all things that are still relevant today.
Absolutely so relevant.
You know, it really connects with people on such a deep level.
It does. But even with all this success, there was tension brewing behind the scenes.
Between Gilmour and Roger Waters.
Right, who was exerting more control over the band's direction.
And that tension eventually led to a breaking point.
It did. But despite those conflicts, they continued to create amazing music.
Albums like Wish You Were Here, with their blend of social commentary and exploration, really solidified their legacy.
And then came the 1979 rock opera The Wall,
Oh, yeah.
which really showcased Gilmour's songwriting talent.
He co-wrote some of the album's most powerful tracks.
Comfortably Numb Run, like Hell Young Lust.
Such great songs.
Yeah. But this album also marked a turning point.
In the band's internal dynamic.
Yeah, things were really starting to unravel.
And then the final cut in 1983,
Yeah.
an album dominated by Waters' vision,
Yeah.
proved to be the breaking point for the band.
Leading to their initial disbandment.
But of course, this wasn't the end for Gilmour or the band. As Pink Floyd went their separate ways, Gilmour embarked on his own journey, releasing his self-titled debut solo album in 1978.
Yeah, this is where we see his individual artistry shining through, stepping out from that collaborative framework of Pink Floyd.
It's a glimpse into his personal musical sensibilities, exploring new sonic territories and experimenting with different sounds.
It's a departure from those grand conceptual pieces of Pink Floyd, but it still retains that signature melodic sensibility.
Absolutely. And it's during this time that he also demonstrated his support for other musicians.
He produced 2 songs.
On Kate Bush's debut album, The Kick Inside,
Released that same year.
talk about a testament to his willingness to champion emerging talent.
Absolutely.
And his contributions to Bush's album really showcases versatility.
Yeah, his ability to work across different genres.
Yeah, for sure.
His next solo album, About Face, came out in 1984.
And featured some really interesting collaborations.
Notably with
Townsend.
the legendary guitarist and songwriter of The Who.
That's right. What an intriguing pairing.
I know.
Both known for their powerful guitar work.
And those introspective lyrics.
But their styles were distinct.
Yeah, Townsend had that raw energy.
While Gilmour leaned towards more atmospheric and emotive soundscapes.
The album really highlights Gilmour's willingness to push his creative boundaries.
And explore different sonic palettes.
It shows his constant desire to evolve as a musician.
Absolutely, and it didn't stop there. Throughout the 80s, Gilmour continued to lend his talents to other artists.
Appearing on albums by Brian Ferry.
And Supertramp.
It's like he couldn't sit still.
He was constantly seeking new musical challenges.
New collaborations.
He was always searching for new ways to express himself musically.
Meanwhile, back in the Pink Floyd saga, things took an unexpected turn.
An unexpected but welcome one, I think.
Despite the conflicts that led to their initial breakup,
Gilmour, Mason, and Wright reunited
under the Pink Floyd name
in the late 80s.
without Roger Waters.
Right, and he actually took legal action
Yeah.
to try to prevent them from using the name.
Oh, wow.
Waters argued that the band was creatively spent without him.
But the lawsuit was unsuccessful.
It was. And this reunited Pink Floyd released A Momentary Lapse of Reason in 1987.
Followed by The Division Bell in 1994.
Both albums were commercially successful,
Proving that Pink Floyd still resonated with audiences.
even in this new configuration.
It's interesting to consider how their sound evolved during this period without Waters.
Gilmour's influence is definitely more prominent in these albums.
Absolutely. But it wasn't all smooth sailing.
No, the complex history between the band members
Especially the tension between Gilmour and Waters.
continued to cast a shadow over this era.
And yet, in a remarkable moment of unity,
The 4 original members of Pink Floyd, including Waters,
came together for a performance.
at the Live 8 benefit concert in 2005.
It was a truly powerful experience to see them perform together again.
It really was a reminder of the magic they created as a unit.
Even though their partnership had been fractured, that performance really transcended their past conflicts.
Absolutely. It was a poignant moment for both the band and their fans.
And even though Pink Floyd's activity has been largely dormant since then, Gilmour has remained active.
Releasing solo albums and proving that his creative fire is far from extinguished.
His solo career has continued to flourish with albums like On an Island in 2006,
And Rattle That Lock in 2015?
showcasing his evolving sound and his enduring talent.
Rattle That Lock even peaked at number 4 on the Billboard album chart.
It's incredible to think that decades into his career, he was still reaching new heights.
Exploring new musical avenues.
And in a testament to his lasting legacy,
He and the other members of Pink Floyd were inducted.
into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1996,
A well-deserved honor.
solidifying their place in music history.
But as we reach the latter stages of Gilmour's career,
It's fascinating to consider how he himself views his legacy. As we wrap up our deep dive into the career of David Gilmour, there's a question that comes to mind.
what's that?
Did he achieve more success within Pink Floyd or through his solo work and collaborations?
It's a tough question.
It is.
I mean, Pink Floyd's impact is undeniable, right? They shaped the landscape of rock music.
Absolutely.
Albums like The Dark Side of the Moon.
We sure hear The Wall.
They're cultural touchstones.
Yeah, they defined a generation and continue to resonate with listeners today.
And Gilmour's contributions are integral to that sound.
Yeah, his guitar work, his vocals.
They're just synonymous with that Pink Floyd sound.
That blend of progressive rock, atmospheric soundscape.
And thought-provoking lyrics.
Exactly.
But his solo work, while maybe not as commercially successful, reveals a different side of him.
More intimate, more introspective.
Yeah, he's exploring his musical ideas more freely.
Yeah, free from the constraints of a band.
Exactly.
And his collaborations with artists like Kate Bush and Pete Townsend show his willingness to kind of venture outside of his comfort zone,
He was always pushing his boundaries.
embracing different styles.
It shows his versatility as a musician,
Yeah.
comfortable working across genres.
So it seems like both paths, within Pink Floyd and as a solo artist, offer compelling evidence of his exceptional talent.
They do, but expressed in different ways.
With Pink Floyd, he was part of these grand conceptual projects.
Pushing the boundaries of rock music.
And then his solo work allowed him to explore more personal and experimental avenues.
It's not about choosing one over the other, really. It's about appreciating how both contributed to his overall impact.
Well said. And beyond record sales and chart positions, Gilmour's influence extends to so many musicians.
Countless musicians.
His guitar style, his use of effects, those
Yeah.
soaring solos.
He's inspired generations of guitarists.
He really has.
He's a guitarist.
But beyond the technical skill, there's a depth of emotion in his music
Yeah, whether it's with Pink Floyd or solo.
that really connects with listeners.
His music evokes feelings.
Yeah, it makes you think, it makes you feel.
It's that ability to tap into universal emotions.
Yeah.
Feelings of longing, wonder, a touch of melancholy.
That gives his music that enduring quality.
It transcends generations.
So as we conclude our deep dive into the life and music of David Gilmour,
Yes.
what resonates most with you, the listener?
Is it the grandeur of Pink Floyd?
The intimacy of his solo work?
Or maybe it's the way he navigated between those two worlds.
Whatever it is, there's no denying his impact on the world of music.
His artistry will continue to inspire and captivate us for years to come.
David Gilmour, a true legend.
Absolutely.